We have some massive updates from Peter Rawlinson on CNBC just a couple of hours ago. He said some rather bizarre things. He said most of his salary is coming from stock options, so he has a high incentive to make sure Lucid Motors meets its financial goals and manufacturing goals, but he would not confirm his original guidance of 20,000 vehicles delivered as of next year. So I just find this kind of bizarre and interesting, but there's much more in this interview. So if there's one video you want to stay through and watch the whole thing, it is definitely this if you are trading or investing in CCIV for the long term. Now, before we get into all this information, the video is about 4 minutes long. Hit that like button for me. Consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell to stay up to date with these videos as soon as I post them. We'll be starting the YouTube portfolio here in the next couple of trading days, depositing $50 a week and tracking the growth on this channel. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And with that, let's get into it.
Peter Rawlinson is the CEO of Lucid Motors and a former Tesla engineer. Peter, thanks for being back with us. Just talked about QuantumScape, but for several EVs, reality is hitting home lately. Production and profits proving to be elusive, and Lucid is still just selling a concept in spots like Saturday Night Live ad over the weekend. Give our audience an update on production and supply chain, and whether you're still on track to hit the targets that you laid out previously, more than 20,000 vehicles in 2022 and $10 billion in revenue in 24?
Well, we're on track to put Lucid Air, the car behind me, into production in the second half of this year. And we're really making great progress here on three fronts. The factory's ready and up and running. The car is getting higher quality, getting closer to start of production on a daily basis. And we're rolling out our sales and service network. We've got 6 stores open across the country with 4 more to come in the very near future. So very much on track for start of production of what I hope will be an outstanding product in the second half of this year.
Right, Peter, start of production, but are you on track for 20,000 vehicles in 2022?
We're very much on track for our plan. We're aiming for over 577 vehicles this year and a significant increase throughout next year as we grow the business.
Okay, but you won't repeat that 20,000 number. I'm noticing, Peter. Are there some hesitations around that? Is there any reason to think that you might not be able to hit that number that you laid out?
I'm very optimistic about our future potential for manufacturing. We're going to start production this year in second half. We're predicting 577 vehicles this year and significant growth next year.
Okay, Peter, I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about your incentives. Elon Musk famously does not take a salary, but has an incentive-based structure that is tied to financial milestones. Can you give us any color on your equity in Lucid, your salary, especially after giving up majority ownership to the Saudi sovereign wealth fund a few years ago?
Well, I'm all in on stock options. That's what motivates and drives me. And that's really my view of the potential future of this company. So that's what I'm really working for, primarily stock options and my current stock options in the company.
And I just wonder, Peter, why go public now pre-production rather than raise more money in private markets? As I mentioned, you were quite successful in doing so from the Saudis. Do retail investors give electric vehicle companies better valuations and terms?
Well, I think we were in a very good position because unlike so many other startups, Lucid was in a strong financial position where we could choose our route to going public through either a traditional IPO or through the SPAC process. And we felt that the SPAC process was a very useful tool for us to secure a great amount of funding. We've secured $4.4 billion through the SPAC and the PIPE. And that collectively secures our future. It takes us well past the start of production of Lucid Air, the car behind me, and it takes us into 2023, close to when we'll be putting our second product into production, the Gravity.
Peter, thank you very much for joining us. We'll continue to track the company and look forward to seeing that vehicle in production.
Two really important new things came out of this interview, and I do think they are slightly on the bearish side. And one of those is that he is paid in stock options, so that does highly incentivize them to meet guidance or exceed guidance. And that's not the bad part, but I do think the more negative part is that he would not confirm their already set guidance for 20,000 vehicles delivered in 2022. And when I invest in companies, I like to see the good and the bad, so I'm not blindsided and I know exactly what I'm investing in. So maybe I'm just thinking in a too bearish tone here. Let me know down below in the comments if you see this as bearish as I do. Just the fact they won't set guidance. And investors, that's the number one thing people are concerned about right now is guidance. Just to be very clear though, I am still very bullish on Lucid Motors. I want your guys' input in the comment section. What do you think about this? Let me know down below. But I do want to take a look at the technical analysis as well as the short volume ratio for the day. The technicals are telling us that ever since we had hit our high, our most recent high at $24.33 off of the Apple Lucid rumors, that was April 27th. We have been in a very bearish downtrend, and this trend line does tell us that right here. But ever since we hit our bottom at $17.40, we have been in a slightly bearish downtrend, and I'm just highlighting our lower lows right here with a trend line, and it does have us trending back up. Now, our first major resistance, and we almost tested this today when we hit $18.90, excuse me, 10 cents off of our $19 resistance level. We fell sharply back down to where we currently sit at $18.60. So I do think the $19 level is still going to be our resistance point, and this about $17.90 mark is our support level as of right now, but we could fall even as low as our lows of $17.40 just yesterday, earlier today. So that is what I do see as of right now. Our more significant resistance level is definitely going to be around the $20 mark. And with this interview, it'll be interesting to see how investors digest this tomorrow. Like I said, maybe I was just being a little more bearish on the interview. That's kind of what it sounded like to me. So it'll be interesting to see what the overall market thinks about this, because all eyes are on Lucid Motors right now, especially since they are down like 60% from their highs. So it'll be interesting to see what the market thinks, but that is what the technicals are telling us. I do expect to bounce in between the $17.90 support level and the $19 resistance level until we get some further news. The short volume ratio for the day is almost 18%, and that is out of 14,334,000 in market volume, and out of that 2,568,000 was shares sold short. So that does come out to about 18%, and this is higher than where we were at yesterday. Almost double the amount of shares were sold short, but it is slightly lower than we have seen over the past course of about 10 days, but is in line with the average of what we have seen out of the last 10 days. So I'm not saying it's going to lead to a short squeeze, but if we get any new news that is on the bullish side or the Apple Lucid rumors, this could definitely exacerbate a run to the upside. But I'm not saying it's going to happen. It could happen. It might not happen. It's just a good thing to track, and that is why I track this every single day. That's going to wrap up this video. If you guys got anything useful out of it, and hopefully you did, give me a big fat thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with the YouTube portfolio, especially once we do make that in the next couple of trading days. With that being said, I will see you guys later. Take care.